Oh no. Oh my god! Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video, we are back in Rails Unlimited, and today we are checking out a massive update that updates old locomotives and, oh my goodness! And adds new ones, and we're joined by Railroadpreserver. Let's get into the video.
I may or may not have just shifted the entire train into hyperdrive. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. We're here to talk about the trains, right?
Yes.
So let's do it.
Alright, let's go ahead and get into some locomotives. Alright, here we have the first two locomotives we are checking out here, and I'll let you pass there. I'll slow down my locomotive, and let you go by. Anyways, we have the coal district here, and of course, you may remember the coal district from older versions of the game. And, yeah, it's been updated, and, it also has a sister train, as I would call it, and, basically they have the exact same locomotive type, however the consist is completely different. But, Railroad, would you like to go into some detail about these two locomotives?
Yeah, so the locomotives you're driving right now, or we're driving, are, I think, known as GEVOs. They're, basically a more modern locomotive that has a much more efficient engine in it, and a lot more horsepower to boot.
Alright, Railroad, so why don't you go into some detail about the coal district itself, and then we'll go ahead and look at the other locomotive, which is the coastal freight, I believe, right?
Yeah, I'm driving that one. So, basically, the coal hoppers are no longer made out of steel, at least not in this consist. They're made out of aluminum, and that's so they're a lot more lightweight, and they actually can hold a lot more coal. I think 100 to 200 tons per car. And the coal hoppers are heated electrically so that the coal doesn't freeze during transport. And that's so it eases unloading. Now, how they unload the coal varies from place to place. Some unloading facilities have it so that the coal is shaken out of the hoppers through hatches in the bottom. And then the other method is via what's known as a rotary dumper. Basically, what a rotary dumper does is that it turns the car on its side and dumps the coal out through the top. Now, the cars are equipped with what are known as rotary couplers. Those couplers basically are able to turn a full 360 degrees so that while the one car is on the dump, on the rotary dumper, it will turn, but it won't cause the other cars in the train consist to turn and that otherwise derail, if that makes sense.
That is really interesting, and, what the heck is that?
It's what?
There seems to be some fighter jets flying overhead. Yeah, there are fighter jets flying overhead right now.
Yeah, must be a military escort or something, I don't know.
Anyways, let's go ahead and accelerate this locomotive to ludicrous speed as it was, and we'll see how fast this thing can go.
Oh yes, we're gonna make the engine's speed go way beyond its designed level, which would probably absolutely destroy the diesel engine inside the unit in real life. So here we go.
Alright, that sounds fun.
Ludicrous speed engage!
Alright, well, it doesn't seem like anything's happening, so must have miserably failed there.
Oh, oops, wrong train. I believe I gave it to myself.
Did you just give it to a random person in the server?
No, I may or may not have given it to myself, and yep, there we go. There's the outlook. Anyways, you're about to see the same outlook I had, because I just had my train crash at a cornfield.
Uh-oh, here we go. Violent acceleration and violent derailment that happened very quickly. Looks like one of the cars may have gotten tripped up on one of the switches back there. But, yeah, that was a pretty sad derailment. But, don't worry, we've got some other opportunities to derail with a few more locomotives. So, yeah, let's go ahead and check out the next one. Alright, here we are, and, oh, you've already derailed. Good for you, Railroad. Anyways, we have the coastal freight here, and, yeah, this is also another updated locomotive. I believe the locomotives are the same, right, Railroad?
Yes, the only difference is the company name, which is CSX.
Well, CCX in the game, so...
Well, yeah, but, you know, Norfolk Southern and CSX both are in my area, so I'm familiar with both railroads.
Anyways, Railroad, why don't you go ahead and run through the consist being pulled by these locomotives?
Yeah, so the consist consists of, no pun intended, 3 rail boxcars or TTX boxcars. I forget either company, but they both leased out railroad rolling stock to railroads. Behind them, you have a covered Montana Rail Link grain hopper, or just a covered hopper. They can be used for carrying grain and other various products. This one has 3 hatches on the bottom, 3 unloading bays. Behind it, you've got 2 bulkhead flat cars hauling finished lumber, cut lumber. Behind them, you've got 2 steel coil cars with Norfolk Southern lettering. Behind, I don't have to wait for this commuter train to pass. Behind them, you've got 2 CSX grain hoppers with 3 unloading bays with a Union Pacific one sandwiched in between them. And on the back, you've got a red box car that has no markings or name, but I'm guessing it's probably one that's just leased out to various railroads and or shippers.
Well, yeah, now that we've gone through the consist, it's time to take a listen to that horn like we always do. So let's go ahead and listen to this. So that is the horn, and I think it's time, Railroad. It's time for some serious acceleration. Here we go.
Yes, of course. It's about time you get a bit of that cargo there ahead of schedule. Oh, by the way, Jinx, your brakes failed, son.
Wait, what? Oh no! Acceleration is getting violent! Uh-oh, this is not good. Alright, I hope I don't switch. Okay, good. Yep, we're accelerating 200 miles an hour. So far, the cargo is holding up on those cars back there, but I think this is it. Yep, here we go, and we are in the trees. Look at that! Just not stopping. You know, if you just came around the corner, you wouldn't know that a train had just run through these trees. It's gone. It is gone.
Oh, of course it's gone. It basically got absolutely destroyed.
Oh, it's more than gone. It's gone up the hill. Past the trees. Alright, here we have the Northwest Superior, and this is the same type of locomotives that we've seen in the past, well, the 2 past locomotives. But, yeah, it's a BNSF locomotive. However, the consist is completely different, so I'll let you go ahead and speak about that, Railroad.
Yeah, so the consist behind the train is consisting of double-stacked intermodal container trains. Why are they called intermodal, you ask? Well, it's simple. They're cargo containers that are meant to be able to be transported on both, or not on both. They're meant to be transported on a ship, and then go from a ship to a train, and then from a train to a truck, so they reach their final destinations.
Well, speaking about final destination, I think that's what's about to happen in a second. Giant derailment and destruction ahead. So, yeah. Looks like we are currently at 90 miles an hour, so we're really speeding through here. And we seem to be accelerating violently. Oh, I wonder who's doing that. Railroad! Oh my gosh, we're still holding up, and there we go. Yep, there it goes. Complete destruction, and some of the cars actually survived. Wow. Well, some of them made it to their final destination, which is now San Camilo. Alright, here we have a classic, at least for me. I used to use this train quite a lot in Rails Unlimited, but as you can see, here we have the pipeline, and it is all updated with the brand new locomotives, of course. And there's not a lot to talk about with this locomotive, because obviously nothing has really changed with the consist. And obviously, as we mentioned earlier, the locomotives are pretty much the same, and we're not really going to speak about them because we already have. So we're just going to accelerate here. We're going to see how long we survive with Railroad's craziness, which is having control over every single locomotive in the game. Yay!
You might notice your braking is going to be ludicrously fast as well. So
wait, really? What if I slow down? So I hit emergency brake?
Yeah, watch.
Wow, you know, I'm surprised that none of the cars buckled in on each other. Whoa, and my acceleration is violent. Oh my gosh. Okay, emergency brake.
By the way,
yeah, that is unhealthy for the locomotive, by the way.
Oh no, not just the locomotive. If you started to train at the speed that I have yours set at in real life,
bad things are happening. Oh my god, things are being shot into the air. Yep, okay, yeah, it's dead. There it goes. It did not survive for very long. Alright, here we have the Montana Special, and as you can see, the locomotive has been updated. However, it looks like the consist has at least been updated in detail-wise. Am I correct about that?
Yes, and I believe what they've done is they've basically taken the consist, updated the actual train cars, and multiplied its length, because this sucker is far longer than I remember.
Yes, I agree with that. This is one of the longer locomotives in-game, And it's actually nice to see longer locomotives.
Longer
I've said this in the past, but, well, I mean, longer train consist, of course, but I just say locomotives because, yeah. But, yeah, as you can see, it's a longer consist, but yeah. One of the things that's been added in the update is that these towns have gotten their own names here, so you can see Western Hills. I don't know if this is a spawnable location, but, yeah. Alright, and now we've made it to the straightaway, and as expected, the locomotive has begun to speed up violently. Railroad is at it again, and yeah, those buildings down at the end of the track are not going to have a good time, because now we're going downhill, increasing the speed, and there we go. There is the collision and destruction there, and there we are. Where are you? Oh, there you are, Railroad. Look at the destruction you created. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, it's not really wonderful because I'm sure the town is going to kind of have a major insurance problem due to this.
Yes, and a major death problem as well. This thing would have wiped out every single building on the street. Alright, here we have the Mountain Freight, and this is another updated locomotive. It's actually the first locomotive we were checking out in the premium section. However, this is not the locomotive that we saw earlier, or the few locomotives we saw earlier, because those were quite a few that were just the same locomotive placed in front of a different consist. But yeah, Railroad, would you like to go into some detail about what was updated on this locomotive?
Okay, so the locomotive and consist have been updated. I think it's mostly for detailing.
Mm-hmm.
But the locomotive paint scheme is referencing BC Rail.
Yeah, you can see WC Rail there.
Yeah, but I believe that railroad was, I think, either bought out or merged with Canadian National or Canadian Pacific, I forget which one. So it's basically a fallen flag. But yeah, the striping on the front, I think, is either hazard striping or visibility stripes.
Anyways, Railroad, speaking about the hazard striping, why don't you stand in front of the locomotive and demonstrate how it works?
No, I can just tell you rather than standing in front of it.
No, I insist. Stand in front of the locomotive, Railroad. Do it. Stand in front of it. Come on. You can catch up. Stand in front of it. Did you just get hit by the signal pole?
No,
oh, no, there you go. Run, Railroad, run! Anyways, we're left unscathed from him. We are moving on successfully and will never be affected again. Oh, gosh! Not again! Violent acceleration. Oh, there's a large explosion at the back there. And yep, there we go. Alright, here we have the mainliner, my personal favorite locomotive in-game, just based on the detail and just the looks of the engine. And, yeah, it's a fantastic locomotive, but what's been updated on it, Railroad?
Well, basically, as you can tell, the original mainliner had one high hood locomotive. This one has it a little bit better. Instead of one high hood, you've got two, so you've got double your money. I believe the freight consist has been updated as well.
Yes, it is significantly longer.
And it also has two Pan Am Railways boxcars. Now, I've got information about Pan Am's predecessor railroads, and I'm going to start with the first two. So, well, basically, I'm just going to read out the ones that make it up. You've got the Maine Central Railroad, you've got the Boston and Maine, and then you've got Guilford Rail System. And all of those were basically put together to form Pan Am Railways. Pan Am Railways is basically the rebrand of Guilford Rail Systems, if that makes sense. The Maine Central was added to Guilford in 1981, Boston and Maine in 1983, and then Guilford Rail System itself ended up being rebranded into Pan Am Railways.
Uh-oh. No! Emergency stop! Yeah! Emergency stop! Oh, this is not working. This is not working.
They set your brakes. Yeah, because they set your brakes to 0.
Oh no, this is not good. Oh my gosh. Seriously, Railroad again? Oh my. Oh wow. Yep, everyone in this station is dead. I don't care what you say. They're all dead. The debris would have been flying through this place. Hey, and there's the big boy right there passing through as well. Alright, here we have the Turbo Guzzler, a legacy locomotive on the premium page. And, yeah, Railroad, why don't you go into some detail about this locomotive?
Yeah, so the locomotive is very unique to the Union Pacific specifically. Basically about as unique as their famous big boy steam locomotives. The locomotive that Jesse is driving is what's known as a gas turbine. It was built by Alco, GE, ALCO and GE between 1952 and 1961, and operated by Union Pacific from 1952 until 1970. They were the only railroad to ever use these locomotives. There were some earlier turbine locomotives that were built during the steam era, but those failed. But these were successful, and two still exist in preservation. But basically, it's not just one locomotive. It's actually a locomotive that's built as two separate units plus a fuel bunker. You've got the lead locomotive that had the actual diesel electric engines, and then the locomotive block behind it had the turbine. The bit behind the engine in game is an auxiliary water tender that was converted into a fuel bunker, which would normally carry bunker C fuel oil, which was the fuel oil they burned in both, I think, the engines and the turbines. And as I said earlier, they were very successful on the Union Pacific. And the fuel bunker cars were actually old water tenders that were used on steam locomotives, because as I said earlier, they were starting to use these in 1952, and they were phasing steam out by that time. So they took the auxiliary water tenders and converted them into fuel bunkers for these engines. But the two that still exist are from the third generation, the last generation of turbines.
All right, so let's go ahead and go into the driver view, and this is what they would usually see, and it looks like the advised speed is 150. We're getting nowhere near there, so let's go ahead and blow the horn here. There we go.
Did I mention if I if I swap a few numbers around, you may or may not be able to run in reverse?
Wait, what? Oh, we've stopped. Oh, this is not good. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going over 150 in reverse. Oh no. Oh my gosh.
You're welcome.
Alright, here we have the UR203. This is a Japanese locomotive, and a lot of these have been added to the game recently. So we're only going to be checking out two of them. One from the standard section, and then one from the premium section. And this is the one from the standard section. This is the 203, as I mentioned earlier. And yeah, we are just moving along here, and I know, Railroad, you don't know too much about these locomotives.
Yeah, I don't really know much about them, but I do know they're commuter trains that are in daily use in Japan. Their rail network is very, very well known. It's renowned.
Well, it's gonna get a little more world renowned because I just derailed spectacularly. Alright, here we have another one from Japan. This is from the premium section, and this is the UR233. And yeah, it's actually got two center cars that actually have double-deckered sections there. And yeah, that's very cool for a commuter train of this size.
And again, as I said earlier, you know, Japan's rail network is pretty much world-renowned as to how advanced it is, and they've literally got it to where, you know, if there's ever a delay, it does not take long before you're back up and moving. And they still use their rail network heavily when it comes to passenger traffic.
Now the question is, how fast can this locomotive go? Now this locomotive is going 120 miles an hour. However, I'm pretty sure if we just give it a little more gas, it might go a little faster. But not much, I would assume.
Actually, it's electric, and seeing as their famous Shinkansen bullet trains go well over, I think, 200 or 300 miles per hour, I'd say this should go pretty fast.
Well,
in reverse.
You see, I think I might derail already. Yep, I have already derailed slightly, but it was, wait, no, I'm going backwards,
That's illegal.
Yes, it is illegal.
Oh, wait a minute.
We're going back in time. We're reversing time. Oh, no.
It's like now the time's moving forward again.
Time is moving forward.
Now the time's moving forward again.
Yes.
At a very rapid pace.
Oh, yeah, we are accelerating through time. Oh, and are you dead, Railroad?
Nope, I lived.
How did you survive that? I thought it, like, just dropped onto the road where you were standing.
Oh, hang on. Don't do anything yet. If I can disconnect the cars, you can continue moving.
Really?
Just get out of scenic. Yeah. See? You're welcome.
Adios, see ya. I'm out of here.
You want to bet?
It seems like the other cars are not wanting this. Oh, Alright, here we have the local, and yeah, as you can tell, I don't want to butcher this pronunciation, because I'm not even going to attempt it. But as you can see, it's a nice longer locomotive, and yeah, it is just moving along nicely here. It's actually an electric locomotive based on the, what do they call it there? Again, I forgot.
The pantographs, and the locomotive and the train consist is actually from Spain, if you can believe it.
Well, yeah, I think I mentioned that earlier. I don't remember if I did or not.
Yeah, but it's a Spanish commuter train, basically, and it's, of course, electrically powered, even though they don't have catenary wires installed yet, which is rather concerning. On some electrified commuter railroads over here in the States, they use a third rail for electric power.
Oh, yes, that is interesting. But then why would they have the pantographs up? Interesting. If they're getting the power from the rails, right? Maybe they just have the pantographs up, so when a bird goes by, it catches it. And then there's your fresh, you know, fresh dinner or fresh lunch served directly to you on the commuter train. It's a great idea, isn't it? You can put a net up there and it catches birds, live birds. Now, you would have to get up to some serious speed to, you know, grab them without them, you know, moving out of the way. Unfortunately, this locomotive just doesn't do it, but we can modify the locomotive.
Did someone say extreme speed?
Yes, I did. Now, we could fill the engine and the cars with tons of other engines, and you could get acceleration like this. However, it would probably just self-destroy, as it will in a moment here. And, yep, there it goes. As I say that, it destroys itself. Luckily, the driver would be pretty much fine, except a little bit of whiplash. Alright, here we have the commuter, and yeah, another name I can't properly pronounce. But as you can see, we've got the wonderful bird catchers. That's what I'm going to call them from now on. Okay, Railroad, I hope you're alright with that. Okay, good. Anyways, this is a wonderful looking locomotive. It's got tiny details on it, which help to, you know, make it look nice in game. It's a Spanish locomotive, of course, and yeah, there's nothing really more I can say about it, unless, Railroad, you have something.
Yeah, basically what Jesse's calling bird catchers are actually called pantographs, which get the train's power supply from overhead catenary wires. Now, some commuter lines have third rails that provide power where catenary wires cannot be added, like subways over in New York City, for example. They have a third rail. Or the Northeast Corridor, they have a catenary wire. I'm pretty sure you'd want to catch some birds that go faster than the Roadrunners, so I believe I'm going to need to...
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Those are the best tasting birds. So, yeah.
Well, as they said in Looney Tunes, meep meep, you're now going to 2,000.
Wait, 2,000? I don't think I'm going to make it to 2,000. The track ends! Oh no! I'm on the other track again, Railroad. Alright, here we have the Lincoln Arrow, a brand new steam train released to Rails Unlimited. And, yeah, I know it was used in the Pennsylvania Railroad, but that's pretty much all I know about it. So yeah, Railroad, why don't you tell us a little bit about this locomotive?
It's called the T1. It's a unique 4-4-4-4 duplex drive steam locomotive used by the Pennsylvania Railroad. They were introduced in 1942 via 2 prototypes, and they were some of the last steam locomotives built for the PRR, the Pennsylvania Railroad. The first 24 engines, 5500 to 5524, were built by Altoona Works, Pennsylvania Railroad's main shops. Engines 5525 to 6111 were built by Baldwin, and the whole original lineup of locomotives were all subsequently scrapped by 1956, I think. And none ended up being saved for preservation, but there is a group out there currently rebuilding a T1 from scratch. It's called the T1 Trust. The locomotive is to be numbered 5550, and they've got a lot of progress made on it. It's actually neat, because this is the first new steam locomotive built here in the U.S. in I think over 50 to 60, maybe even 70 years in some cases. They have an expected completion date of around 2030, so we'll be old men by that time. But that'll be interesting to see, because the only other country that's built new steam locomotives has been the UK. So a little bit of interesting information. Now, I actually had a hand in helping with the development of the model. I actually had a chance to look at it in advance. Don't ask me how. That's classified. But I looked at it, and I noticed the whistle. Well, the whistle's accurate. That's a Pennsylvania Railroad whistle if you hit the whistle button real quick.
Oh, no! No!
Let's just pretend that derailment never happened.
Well, I can't really pretend that it didn't happen. I mean, I just watched it explode in the background. And we're free! There we go! Alright, awesome. So, anyways, Railroad, why don't you go into some detail about your involvement in this locomotive?
Alright, so yeah, I had a hand in helping with this locomotive's construction. And I don't mean construction, I mean audio-wise. The whistle on the locomotive was already added by another developer, and that's accurate. The whistle on the engine is a Pennsylvania Railroad whistle. That's accurate. The model originally, before it was made public, the bell wasn't accurate. It was just the normal steam locomotive bell you see on their models, say for 1522. And that kind of bugged me, because I wanted the engine's audio to be accurate, and that right down to the bell. And I looked, and I ended up finding a recording of a Pennsylvania Railroad bell that was taken off one of their older steam locomotives and later used on their famous GG1 electric locomotives. Now, I went on a guess and figured the bell tone would have been identical on the T1s. So another developer called Train Expert got the audio sample and then gave it to, I think, Metro Train so it could be approved. It was later approved. And I think either Simcoe or Fluster 1 added it onto the engine, and then I let them know at what volume levels needed to be adjusted. And so they adjusted all the volume levels on the bell and the whistle, so they sounded accurate to what you'd hear on the real engine. But yeah, if you hit the bell, you can hear what I'm talking about.
Oh, gosh! What have you done? Oh, my goodness! All of the cars just went through the engine there. Uh-oh. Well, we haven't derailed yet. Uh-oh, but there we go. Now we're derailing. Alright, and the last locomotive we're checking out today is the Ozark Mountaineer. And this is another steam locomotive. And yeah, Railroad, why don't you go into some detail about what's been updated in this locomotive?
Yeah, so the Ozark Mountaineer is actually a Frisco 1522, which is a preserved steam locomotive built for that railroad. It's a 482 type locomotive, otherwise known as a mountain type. The engine was retired from revenue use in, I think, the 1950s and given to the Transportation Museum in St. Louis, Missouri, which then restored it in the 1980s to run excursion trains, and it kept up that, and it stayed in excursion service from then until 2002, when rising insurance costs and I think repairs forced it into retirement. And it's been retired then. So it's been retired for about 19 years now. But recently, when I went to St. Louis, I got a chance to... Oh dear.
So I may have pressed the switch button a little too late.
Yeah, you kind of should have just let it coast into that.
Yeah, well, you see, I didn't, and,
Oh, hey, look at the driving rods. Look, they're still spinning.
That's okay. Oh, hello, Railroad. I see you've got Region Rail here.
Yes, tell me, son, you like to ride in the cab?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna hop into the... How do I hop into the cab here?
Just walk in.
Oh, there we are. You know, that engine really does sound like we're going quick. Oh my gosh, yes, we are going very quick. Oh, luckily we're going uphill, so we're slowing down a little bit, but that's good.
Could you look behind us?
Yeah, I don't see anything. Why?
The consist, something's off.
Well, now something's off. Alright, guys, you just make sure to leave a like and a comment, and I'll see you next time, guys. Goodbye.